Hey fam, welcome back. Real quick, where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. Couch. Office. Sneaking this at work? We won't tell. Today's story is wild. A black woman gets denied her first-class seat, but 5 minutes later, she fires the entire flight crew. Why? Because she owns the company. Yeah. Let's go. Hit like, smash subscribe, and let's get into it. The first-class boarding lane at Gate 36 was already half empty when Ava Sinclair approached, phone in one hand, tote in the other. She was dressed comfortably, black joggers, crisp white hoodie, low-key sneakers. Her locks were tied back into a neat ponytail, and her expression was calm, focused. She'd just come from a 16-hour boardroom war in Toronto, closing a contract worth over $200 million. Now, she was heading back to New York for a quiet weekend before the Monday media rollout. She needed rest. Quiet. Legroom. She scanned her boarding pass. First class, seat 1A. Direct flight. On time. The gate agent barely looked up before motioning her through. But once Ava stepped onto the plane, the trouble began. As she reached her seat, a sharply dressed flight attendant, a woman named Denise, intercepted her. "Excuse me, ma'am. Economy is further down." Ava paused. "I'm in 1A, she said, calmly holding out her boarding pass. Denise glanced at it, then back at her. "You must have been upgraded by mistake. This cabin is reserved for elite travelers only." "I am an elite traveler," Ava replied. "And I paid for this ticket." Another flight attendant, Steve, stepped in, tone clipped. "There's been a system error. We can sort this out if you'll please step to the side." Ava, still calm, stepped aside but didn't move further. "There's no error. Check again. Ava Sinclair. 1A. Denise rolled her eyes and snatched the boarding pass, typing quickly into the tablet. Then her expression shifted, but not with apology. With something else. Embarrassment. Hesitation. Panic. Before she could speak, the plane's captain walked up, clearly aware something was happening. "What's the issue?" he asked, glancing between Ava and the crew. "She's not listed," Denise said quickly. "It might be fraud. We're verifying now." Ava let out a slow breath. "That's enough." She pulled out her phone and opened her corporate messaging app. One quick voice message was all she needed to send. "Hi, Mark. I'm standing on Flight 267, your flight. Apparently, I'm not qualified to sit in first class according to your staff. Handle it." Then she looked up at them again. "You have about 5 minutes." Steve scoffed. "Look, we don't respond to threats, lady." Denise crossed her arms. "If you don't take your assigned seat in economy, we'll have to remove you from the aircraft." Ava didn't say another word. She simply stepped back into seat 1A and sat down. Exactly 4 minutes and 30 seconds later, a phone rang in the cockpit. The captain picked it up. His face paled. Then a voice came over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing a delay and kindly ask for your patience while we resolve a scheduling issue. Please remain seated." The door opened. In stepped 2 men in suits and security badges. They approached Denise and Steve quietly. Asked them to step off the aircraft immediately. No scene. Just quiet words and firm hands. Then the captain stood and made an announcement. "This flight will resume boarding shortly. Thank you for your patience." No mention of the incident. No apology. But the damage was already done. Ava remained seated. The passengers around her whispered and stared, realizing slowly that they had just witnessed something unusual, something bigger than a seat mix-up. They weren't wrong. Because Ava Sinclair wasn't just another executive. She was the CEO of a massive investment firm that had acquired the struggling airline's parent company just 6 months ago. She was the woman who had saved thousands of jobs and brought the airline back from the edge of bankruptcy. And tonight, she had been treated like a trespasser on her own plane. Once the aircraft was in the air, Ava pulled out her tablet and wrote a short internal memo. Subject line, Flight 267 Crew Review, Immediate Action Required. She didn't go into emotion. She didn't rant. She simply listed the actions taken, the names, the policies violated, and the decision. Denise and Steve were both terminated within 24 hours. Not just for their treatment of a VIP, but for how often similar complaints had surfaced from passengers who didn't have the power to respond. Ava made sure those complaints were reviewed and compensated. And then she launched a new diversity and ethics training initiative across the entire airline group, requiring every single flight attendant and gate agent to pass or lose flight privileges. Not as punishment, but as a culture reset. Later that week, Ava addressed her leadership team. "You don't fix bias with slogans and diversity banners," she said. "You fix it by holding people accountable, especially when no one's watching." She paused and smiled slightly. And sometimes, the best seat on the plane is the one you never had to fight for. If you were in Ava's shoes, what would you have done? Have you ever been made to feel like you didn't belong somewhere you earned? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear your story. And if this story lit something in you, inspired you, or just made you say, finally, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true stories that remind us. Power doesn't shout. It boards quietly and owns the entire airline. ***. See you in the next one.